Good morning, loves. I think it's really interesting that today's topic that I had planned out, months ago is on how to deal with toxic people. And it's actually a two-parter because I want to talk about how to deal with toxic people that aren't important to you and toxic people that are important to you. So today we're going to talk about toxic people that you don't know very well. They're acquaintances or they're strangers or they're media figures, political figures, whatever. Wherever you feel like the toxicity is coming from, that's not somebody that you intimately interact with on a frequent basis. I just think it's very timely because I know there's been a lot of negativity over these last several weeks, particularly the last weekend. And how do you deal with that? How do you, because you don't want to shut it out. I want to start with that. You don't want to shut it out in the sense that you ignore it. Because even if you are consciously ignoring things, your brain is still working on them subconsciously. So I think it's really important to, off the bat, the first thing you do is don't ignore it. So you need to address the way you're feeling. Our brain gives us feelings. Our brain incites feelings as a way for us to recognize that there is a problem. And then we have the responsibility, the ability to respond to what our brain says. We have the ability to tell ourselves, from a cognitive standpoint, from a heart standpoint, yes, I believe this is true. This is actually a valid feeling. Or no, this doesn't make sense and this isn't the way that I want to feel. And I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to try to stop feeling that way. So don't shut it out, as hard as that is. And if you need to shut it out for like a moment, if you're like in a really critical situation and you're trying not to punch somebody in the face, stopping for a second there and kind of giving yourself a minute to, process is always a good first step. So taking a step back if you can. It's hard when you're in direct conversation with somebody, but even if you say something like, I respect you, but that comment really brought up some feelings for me, so I'm just going to take a minute before I respond. Can you imagine if every person that got triggered or got frustrated with what somebody said to them took a minute, a literal minute, and sat there and thought about what they were going to say next? Can you even think about, even if you took 10 seconds and you didn't immediately respond, can you think about how different your conversations would be when you are feeling a strong emotion towards somebody who is triggering you or being toxic? So that's really my second suggestion is don't shut it out, but take a few seconds, a minute, even, if you need longer than that, probably more in part two with people that you really love, even an hour a day before you respond, because that's going to give your brain and your heart a minute, a little bit of time to talk to one another. That's going to give what makes you inherently you, your soul, your heart, your person, a moment to connect up with your brain and say, hey, the way you're feeling about this makes sense, but we need to formulate how we're going to respond to get the best possible outcome. Or your person may need to go to your brain, hey, that's not a valid response, but we usually have this response when we're feeling shamed, when we're feeling angry, when we're feeling hurt, when we're feeling sad, when we're feeling devastated. And so if that's what I'm feeling right now, why exactly am I feeling that way? Third step, why exactly am I feeling that way? What is it about what this person just said to me this person that is able to trigger me every time, that's able to anger me or hurt me every time, what is it about what they're saying that's really bothering me? Because honestly, if a stranger cuts you off in traffic, or somebody that you deal with on a relatively frequent basis, like say the person you get your food from in the cafeteria every day is like super rude every day. For me, if somebody's really rude to me like that, my brain gets angry, but that anger is really hurt disguised. Anger is usually actually is another emotion. It's fueled by another emotion that we as a society don't feel comfortable sharing. That is shameful. That is not acceptable. But anger is acceptable. Anger has become acceptable. And so when I get into an experience like that, my first thing I want to do is get pissed off at that person. And when I get pissed off, it's not because I'm mad, it's because I'm hurt. My primary worry in life is that I am not enough for other people, that I am not worthy of love, that I have to earn other people's love. And so when I'm being nice to somebody and I'm trying to earn their love, not the healthiest thing. Now I'm more trying to be nice to somebody because I like to spread love to the world. But particularly before I went through this whole process, if somebody was then mean to me back, holy crap. Super angry, super upset, but really deep down super hurt. That validated everything that I thought about myself. And this is a perfect stranger who has no idea who I am, has no idea how they're making me feel, and yet I am responding in such a negative way. First of all, I'm giving my power of my feelings to them. I am letting them control how I respond to situations. I am playing a victim when I do that. But secondly, I end up validating the thought that's in my head, because when I get pissed off and I yell, I'm not worthy of love in that situation. I mean, I'm actually worthy of love at any point. But if you're looking at it from a truly, I have to earn love, how am I earning love? By being pissed off at somebody. How am I earning love? By flipping off the driver that cuts me off? How am I earning love? By snapping at someone when they say something mildly rude? I'm not. So my brain basically goes, you have to fix this dissonance, this issue that's not lining up. You think you're worthy of love, but this person is being really mean to you. So you're not really worthy of love. So you have to act in a way that you are not worthy of earning that person's love. Is that not like a ridiculously messed up cycle? Okay, so the thing about toxic people, and you know what? And I almost even hate to use that term, because everybody's toxic at some point. We all get in really shitty states. We all get in places of suffering and victimhood that then we spread to others. And really, what I think is going on in our country and our society today is all about the fact that people have gotten really comfortable playing victim and not taking responsibility for how they respond to their own feelings and their own act and the situations they're put in. Taking responsibility, deciding how they're going to act instead of letting the way somebody treats them dictate how they respond. So that whole victim thing, that has to stop when you talk to people who are quote unquote toxic or being toxic, people who are being toxic. And so first step, don't shut it out. Second step, take a minute. And third step, figure out why you're responding the way you're responding. Fourth step, pretty much almost the last step. Depends on how far you want to go in the moment. But fourth step, decide how you're going to respond. So in that situation, I take a minute. I realize that I am getting that fallacy, that limiting belief I have about myself, about needing to earn love, is getting activated. And my initial response is to want to validate it myself. But that's not really what I want. What I want for my life is to be a source of light and hope and peace and love for everyone that I physically can. So what you have to do in that situation is not only recognize that you have the ability to respond in whatever way you would like, which for me in this situation is with love, but you also get to realize that's not about you. 9.9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, when somebody snaps at you, when somebody cuts you off, when somebody does something crappy, it's not about you. It's about them. They're frustrated, they're hurt, they're angry, and they are acting out towards you. So when you respond, you're actually probably validating some of the shitty beliefs they have about themselves. So how amazing would it be in a situation where somebody is just mean, says something mean, and you look at them, and not only do you respond in a positive, loving way, where you say, you know what, you seem kind of stressed out right now, or is something bothering you? I'd love to sit down and talk with you about it. You just, you don't seem yourself, or you kind of seem off, and is there anything I can do for you? And you say it from a really genuine place. One of two things is going to happen. One is you are going to wake them up out of whatever shitty trance they're in, and make them realize that, oh, she didn't respond the way I thought she did. Wait, this doesn't make sense. Like, I got to think about this. You're going to snap them out of it. And you might be a source of such positive energy for that person that day. You might completely turn their day around. You might completely turn their life around. The other thing is, they might not take it well. They might get really pissed off. It might even get worse than how it was. They might be like, how dare you? How dare you say that I'm not, whatever. The thing of that is, once again, remember, that is just proving that it's not about you. Because you just did something loving and kind and gracious, and they responded with shame and hurt and negativity. That person is probably not in a place where they are ready to accept the fact that they deserve whatever wonderful feelings you just directed at them. And you know what? That's not your fault, particularly with people that you don't know well. Tomorrow's a different ballgame. Tomorrow we'll talk about that. But with people that you aren't intimately related to or in a relationship with, that's not about you. It's not about you at all. And you can walk away knowing that you responded in a way that was exactly how you wanted to respond after thinking about it, after recognizing your own issue. And that is going to feel so good. The other thing I caution with this is this works really well in person. If you are arguing with somebody on social media, there's no tone, or on text, there's no tone, there's no body language, there's no nothing. There are words. And people can misconstrue and skew words whichever direction they want. So please, if you're arguing with somebody on social media, or getting frustrated with somebody, I try to give them a call. If it's somebody that's that important to me, I'm going to give them a call. That's tomorrow too. But if it's somebody that's not important to you, you got to remember, they got their own crap, okay? They have been through a completely different set of life experiences than you. They see the world from a fundamentally different place than you. And if you argue, if you are rude, if you are mean, if you are spiteful, all that does is confirm their opinion of how they see the world. If you are frustrated with somebody online or in a text, you have to put yourself in their shoes first. You have to try to see the issue from their side. When you do that, when you say, I recognize, while I may not agree with you on most of this, I do recognize that this part of your argument makes total sense. And I really appreciate the fact that you're willing to talk about this without getting mean or dropping to insults or criticisms of one another, and that we can just talk about our ideas. When you talk to people like that online, first of all, anybody else who comes along and reads it, you're not the asshole. The other person is probably. But the person you're talking to is so much more likely to receive and try to see things from your perspective if you really get into their perspective first. Ask questions. Try to understand where they're coming from. Try to really get why they're saying what they're saying. It may sound crazy to you. It's not crazy to them. It makes sense to them. They have had a different life than you. They have had fundamentally different life-changing experiences than you. The values they have are different. The morals they have are different. The belief system they have is different. The limiting beliefs they have about themselves are different. So, if you are going to try to engage with somebody online, which honestly, if you don't know them, probably isn't the best decision, because you're not going to be on the same playing field. You're trying to understand, they're probably not. If you're going to try to do that, you have to step into their shoes first. So, yeah. So there's 4 steps. And then the 5th step, I think, personally, is the best step, is celebrate the crap out of the fact, when you're alone, that you responded in a way that you wanted to respond, that you didn't get triggered and go off and be a jerk. Because that's the easy way to go about it. The easy way to go about it is to be like, well, that person sucks, and, I'm going to be rude back, and then I'm going to be in a shitty mood all day, and I'm going to pass on all this negativity the rest of the people I come across, and, oh, good. Okay, so let's negatively impact 20 people's lives because one person negatively impacted yours. That makes sense. No. Celebrate the fact that you were able to be an example, that you were able to stay in line with your values, that you were able to spread love to somebody who obviously needs it. And that you stayed true to yourself. You stayed true to form. You stayed true to who you are. Okay? Celebrate that. Like, do a little dance. Call your husband and be like, dude, somebody was super rude to me, and I said this back, and it worked, and then we got in this really great conversation, and she apologized, and then, the rest of my day was awesome. There's no problem. There's nothing wrong with celebrating that. You should. Because as you celebrate that, do you know what it does? It forms this little neural pathway between the emotion center in your brain and the higher cortex, the critical thinking areas of your brain. And so the next time you are triggered by that emotion, your brain's going to go, well, I usually respond with this emotion. But wait, no, that last time I did that, I felt really good. So maybe I'll do this. And it's not going to happen after the first time. But it really will become a habit. It will become something that's ingrained in you. It will become something that is who you are. You don't respond that way, and people know you for not responding that way. That's all I got. Long video, but I'm so happy to be back at it and feeling good. I just worked 19 hours. I feel great. I hope you guys have a fantastic Monday. I hope you are able to use this today or whatever day you're listening to this. And I love you all. And I'll talk to you later.